Welcome back to Ask Dr. Clarke, a free advice service for those of you who have a question for me, and especially those of you who have a marriage that's in crisis. My plans are all geared to empower you as the spouse who wants to save the marriage in the marriage, but also shake up the sinning spouse so the marriage can be saved. Now, my phone advice, which more and more people are taking advantage of, 45 minutes with Dr. Clarke. You could live in Nebraska, Ohio, California, New Hampshire is making a difference. I shouldn't mention New Hampshire because I don't like New Hampshire. Long story on that, but if you live there, I'm sorry. But if wherever you live, you can do a 45-minute phone advice session with Dr. Clarke to nail down the strategy in terms of saving your marriage. But the phone advice, the books, these, of course, services cost money, but I think it's money well spent when you're trying to save your marriage. And all those resources on saving a marriage in crisis are on my website, davideclarkephd.com. That's Clarke with an A, davideclarkephd.com. Now, if you're finding these videos helpful, and I hope you are, help us grow our audience and have more and more impact in saving marriages by subscribing to my YouTube channel and tapping the like button. Now, today's question, and it's a good one. I mean, all your questions are good, but here's today's question. Oh, I got to read the question. It came in via an email. This is a lady. She's got 3 sons, all teenagers, and the oldest 2 have ADHD, she says. Of course, that has led to a lot of challenges. The youngest son had tested superior, but is so focused on his own stuff, it can be easily mistaken as also ADHD. It's not, but at least 2 of the 3 have ADHD. This will come as no surprise, but she says, as a result, it came to light that I myself, the woman here, the mom, I've also suffered from untreated ADHD. This has also been a lonely road and one of the reasons for very serious marital conflict and me being very sensitive. I have a high demanding job and have to work much harder than most people to achieve the same results. Boy, you're not kidding. If you got the ADHD, even with medication and managing it, everything's harder. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It's just because of the ADHD getting in the way. I do believe this has contributed a lot over the years towards deep hurts, lack of passion, and many, many conflicts. Yeah, I bet it has. What is your advice, she asks, for spouses to handle a spouse with ADHD or even OCD or depression, especially if they do not understand this? Boy, very good question. So we're looking at ADHD in this context, but this could be any other mental health problem. First, here's my answer. First, you are one flesh as a married couple. So when your spouse has a mental health problem or any issue, so do you. It is not you've got a problem and I'm going to help you with your problem. It's we have a problem and we're going to handle this together. We're going to fix it with God's help together. Now, the spouse with the problem, in this case, the lady with the ADHD, but if it's OCD, if it's bipolar, if it's depression, if it's anxiety, if it's an addiction, whatever the issue, the spouse with the problem needs to commit to doing all she can do to identify, treat, and manage the problem. I mean, full bore, all in, I'm going to really work on this hard. Accurate diagnosis, medication if needed, therapy if needed. Do all you can. Now, the other spouse is with you, ideally now, every step of the way, doing his research right along with you, getting all the information about your appointments. He may come with you to appointments. He's right there because you're doing this together. That's the plan. And the 2 of you work together to manage this ADHD or whatever the problem might be. Now, once you're managing the problem successfully, also important is the 2 of you need to work through the pain and wounds connected to the problem. It takes a while to get the diagnosis, takes a while to figure out the medication, takes a while to kind of adjust and start managing it. So before that happens, damage has been done. We have to do the healing. You have to work through the pain and wounds that you cause with your ADHD, whatever your problem is. You have to work through the pain and wounds your spouse caused because he didn't get it, like this husband didn't understand the ADHD. If you don't understand OCD, if you don't understand bipolar, and nobody does, well, then you treat the person badly and you end up hurting them. So you have to face those issues and work them through. If the spouse, now here's the caveat, if the spouse with the mental health problem stays in denial and refuses to get help, won't take medication, won't go to therapy, then that spouse is in serious sin. Those are choices. All right, that person's in serious sin, and you'll need to go to a tough love strategy. And again, it's going to be a 1-2 punch as far as I'm concerned. You get a spouse that simply will not address their mental health problem, then try married but lonely first. This is the lower key approach. If the person's a decent person, they'll respond and we can get going. This is their chance to do it the easy way. Even though it's a difficult process in a sense, it's easier than the next step. If they won't do this step, I'm not doing that book, or I'll start but I won't finish it. Okay, then, because the marriage is being destroyed, we have to try to save it. Then we go to enough is enough. How to leave an abusive relationship. You're going to get away from this person. You're going to isolate them. And then maybe that will motivate them to make changes and address their problem. This is hardcore. Otherwise, you're going to keep living this way. You'll be destroyed. Your kids will be destroyed. The marriage, of course, doesn't have a chance. So that's what I say in response to this lady who has the mental health issue. And what do we do as a couple to resolve it?